So don replaces the preposition do plus any following noun in the relative clause. Immediate, that is the next noun. The noun has to be immediately after do. Whenever you want to provide info about a noun preceded by do, you use don. So don helps us to avoid ending sentences with preposition. In English language, you can end sentences with preposition. It is not so in French. Je vous parle de ce livre. I'm telling you about this book. Now, how does one say, this is the book that I am telling you about? So let's look at the first trial. So here it is. Voici le livre que je vous parle de. So something is wrong with this sentence. Can you point it out? So this sentence ends with a preposition. And as I said earlier, French sentences shouldn't end with a preposition. Let's look at our second trial. Voici le livre dont je vous parle. Dont je vous parle. Correct. So in this sentence, you notice that there is no do. Do has been replaced. When you want to provide extra information about a noun preceded by do, you will use don. And when you use don, don replaces do plus any noun that follows it. As is seen here, voici le livre dont je vous parle. With this don, do is eliminated because don replaces do plus any noun attached to it. Je t'ai parlé d'un professeur. Il a accepté le prix Nobel. I told you about a teacher. He accepted the Nobel Prize. Now look at this sentence. Having studied this sentence, how does one say the teacher that I told you about accepted the Nobel Prize using don? How does one say that? The teacher that I told you about accepted the Nobel Prize. How does one say that? Let's see. So, here's what we have. Le professeur dont je t'ai parlé a accepté le prix Nobel. The professor that I told you about accepted the Nobel Prize. So here we have the main clause and we have the relative clause. As a relative pronoun, don is ushering extra information about le professeur. It offers information like this here. That is, the professor we are talking about is the one that I spoke to you about. You should remember that this sentence was formed from these sentences up here. Alright? And remember what I said, that if you want to provide information about a noun preceded by the, look at that noun here, and it is preceded by the. If you want to provide such information, you use don. In other words, don replaces do plus any noun in the relative clause. As it's seen here, don here replaced this don on the professor. Although we can see professor on the main clause, you can't see professor in the relative clause. So don has taken it upon itself to represent both the do and the professor. Now let us proceed. Next example. So we have this. Let's look at this first sentence. J'ai besoin d'un stylo. J'ai besoin d'un stylo. So if I wanted to say the pen that I need is filled with ink that doesn't fade. So for me to make that sentence, you will see that I'm trying to provide extra information about stylo. I mean, look at the meaning of the sentence. The pen that I need is filled with ink that doesn't fade. All that information revolves around pen. In the first sentence, stylo, being the object, being a noun, is preceded by the. So you know the drill. When I'm trying to provide information about a noun preceded by the, don is the right word here. And when I use don will replace this do and replace and represent stylo in the relative clause. As it's seen here, le stylo dont j'ai besoin est rempli de l'encre qui ne s'efface pas. Le stylo mean this is the noun phrase dont j'ai besoin est rempli de l'encre qui ne s'efface pas. So this is the relative pronoun ushering in this information and at the same time replacing the and stylo in the relative clause. In the relative clause, we don't see stylo, we don't see don. They are all represented by don. Next example, look at this sentence. J'ai peur de la noix. J'ai peur de la noix. J'ai peur de quoi? De la noix. So we have the object here, le noir. So if I wanted to provide more information about le noir, I will look behind le noir. Looking behind, I have noticed that there is a de preceding le noir. I will use don, and in so doing, I'll replace de and this in the relative clause. Let's see. Perhaps I want to say the dark is the only thing that I am afraid of. Look at this sentence. The dark is the only thing that I'm afraid of. I will say, le noir est la seule chose dont j'ai peur. The dark is the only thing that representing them, that I am afraid of. Alright? So take note of de and don are close parties every time. Now, another example. La femme de cet homme est espionne. This man's wife is a spy. What if I wanted to provide more information about this man? To do so, I have to take notice of the fact that this noun here, is preceded by a de. And if I want to provide more information about the noun, that is I will use don. Now let's assume that I wanted to say that I know a man whose wife is a spy. That is, I'm still talking about this man, and I want to say that I know a man whose wife is a spy. I will still use don as is seen here. Je connais un homme dont la femme est espionne. Alright? Using don to replace de sets Although appears in this sentence, it does not appear in the relative clause painted in red. So don has comfortably replaced it and fulfill this responsibility as the relative pronoun by ushering extra information about this home, etc. So that's for don.